Meet Chris Winters, a multi-millionaire from the US who built a company with over 3,000 employees but lost everything almost overnight.
One of our 3,000 employees was drunk on the job and ran through a red light and 4 people.
At the age of 41, he became homeless, obese and broke with no future. But one decision changed his life forever. He moved to Indonesia.
This was the one place in the world. When I left, I wanted to come back.
He decided to give up his American passport, and within the next few years, he built a new multi-million-dollar empire while living in Bali.
People can start from any time. It's never too late.
Chris shared how Indonesia and its people saved his life after he was diagnosed with a brain tumor.
He was one of the best doctors in the world. He's actually based here,
in Bali.
Of all places.
What the biggest misconceptions about Indonesia Americans still believe in?
It must be dangerous, be safe.
And why saying no to luxury can make you feel truly rich and free. I'm Chernov, your insider to real life. Ayo!
So, living in Indonesia, like for the last 6 years, what do you think the biggest misconceptions about Indonesia that you hear? I don't know, maybe from your friends who never been here, and they're like, oh, why you live in Indonesia? Like, it's, I don't know, poverty or something. What's the biggest things that people don't get about the place?
So I guess the number one question that I get from friends who have not even traveled outside the U.S., and I believe that the U.S. has the citizens there, most citizens, it's something like 70% of citizens don't even have their passport. That's insane to me. But the number one question is, it must be dangerous, be safe. It's not dangerous, of course not. It's more dangerous in the United States than it is here. I mean, way more. There's more crime and shootings and all kinds of stuff in the United States than there is here. There's almost no petty crime everywhere, but that would be number one. Number two would be how did you get used to their food? It's like, trust me, if you came here for food here, you'll never go back. Those are probably the two misconceptions. And then the third one is that how do you even get by without speaking the language? I'm like, well, one, you can learn the language. The other one is you can use Google Translate. You can have people that speak the local language, or you cannot. You will get by just fine. This was the one place in the world. When I left, I wanted to come back. So when I had a chance to come back, that's when I came back here. And I think Bali for most foreigners is either, there's kind of two camps.
Yeah.
Either love it or you hate it. There's kind of no in between on that end of it. And I would say that if you haven't been here yet, definitely learn how to ride a small motorbike. It's the best way to get around, forget cars.
Yeah.
Be used to traffic, that's part of Bali. Be used to bad roads, that's also a part of Bali on here. And don't expect things to be the same as from your country. If you do, you're gonna set yourself up for failure.
Yeah, for sure. And it's actually the point about small bike. It's very legit because like if you used to ride like bigger bikes on a good roads in your home country, it doesn't work here. It's like a completely different technique.
Yeah. You gotta do it. And I always, when people come here first and they're okay with a motorbike, I always tell them to think about it is that you want to keep flowing like a river when you drive. Don't stop and wait for someone else to let you in, because they won't. You just got to keep flowing. You just got to kind of slow down a little bit, and then you speed up when you need to, but you have to keep moving. The minute you stop everyone else, and you're going to get to where you're going much longer.
And it's a shift of mentality, because it's not like rude not to let someone in. It's like how things work.
Yes.
It's how the traffic works.
Yeah. And you have to get used to getting honked at. And that's not being rude either.
Yeah.
They're just letting you know, hey, I'm right behind you.
Yeah.
It's more for safety, it's not for rude. And I see a lot of foreigners when they come here for the first time. I can usually tell because when people are honking, they're turning around going, hey, what's going on? Why are you honking at me? I'm fine. They're not used to it. You have to understand the culture and you have to adapt to it. If you can adapt to it and then set your culture aside, leave it at home, you're going to enjoy this place much more. In fact, I just had some friends come back from Europe, traveled all over Europe by train, had a good time. And Europe is supposed to be known for its good food. Actually, when they came back, they said the food in Bali is better. And it is much better. I mean, there's some of the restaurants here fly in some of the best cooks in the world. There's a lot of competition. And the nice thing about the food here is that you can order just about anything you want. And if you're really into health food, there's a lot of health food here.
Can we talk about your passport, that you give up your passport?
Yeah.
So tell me, like, why you made this decision and if it was difficult for you.
I realized that in 2008, when we had the mortgage-backed security crisis and there was banks that collapsed and stuff, I started saying, wait a minute. And I got taxed about a lot. I was like, where can I go? What can I do to not legally pay taxes? And I want to be free. I want to be free of a government. And if you really look back through history and you study governments and you study fiat currency, one can conclude, at least I did, governments only get paid one way. They're not a corporation, they get paid one way, through taxes. And they want to get as much money as possible while doing the least amount of work for the citizens they're supposed to. So I kind of realized that, and then I was like, I really want to be free of that. How can I be? And the only solution that I found to be free of a government is to have multiple passports. And then you have multiple opportunities. So when one government decides, hey, it's COVID or the next black swan event,
let's start the
you're
war.
not allowed. Start a war.
Crazy, yeah.
Exactly. You can't be here anymore. I'm like, well, screw it. I'll switch to this passport. Now I can on that. So that's part of freedom. And most people, when they think about opening a business or getting out of a job, they're ultimately seeking for freedom. Yet I would argue they don't have a good definition of what freedom means. And I would say a good way, at least for me, what worked for me, was that when I asked myself, what is true freedom? True freedom is having the freedom to go places in the world that you want and not being controlled by a government. And you can do that through multiple passports.
And so on the passport, like, it was a hard decision for you to give up your American passport?
No,
oh, it was like
the easiest one in the world.
Really?
It's the only country in the world that's citizen-based tax system. Meaning, if I'm here, I'm still taxed as though I'm in the US. It's the only country in the world that does that. It's completely criminal. And I wanted to, as part of the freedom on that, I wanted to free myself legally of taxes. And the only way to do that was to give up the US passport and to get additional passports on that.
So, do you have any emotional connection with the US at all, or not really?
None.
Do you go there?
I never. Even when I was a child, around 5 or 6 years old, I never felt I belonged in the US. I also never felt that my parents were my parents. I just felt like I was in the wrong place.
Oh.
So as soon as I could, I left. And the first time I left, I was 18 years old. And the only reason I would have left earlier, but I left when I was 18 because I was old enough to do it without parent consent. And the first place that I went to, I read an article in a Time magazine. This is back when there was no Google or internet, okay? And I read an article about a orthopedic surgeon who had retired from the US and he moved to Kathmandu, Nepal, and he was doing volunteer work. And he would take trekkers and trek them, not him, but he'd have trekkers go up with nurses and they'd go up into the Himalayas. They would find kids that needed his help, but couldn't afford it, didn't even know there was a cure and stuff. And I mailed him. There was no email. I literally paper mailed him. I had just turned 18.
Okay.
And I said, hey, I'd love to come up and volunteer on that. And he said, yeah, come on over. So I did.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay. How was it, like 18-year-old?
Well, first of all, I'm 5'9", so when I got there, which is not tall, when I got there, I was tall. Tops of heads were like this. Nepalese are very short and very small people, so I felt big for the first time. At that time, I don't know if it's true today, but Kathmandu doesn't have any street names. And it's all just like cow trails everywhere. And at the time, there was only one hotel, and there was only just like youth hostels to stay at. So I stayed at a youth hostel. I remember it costing equivalent to 5 cents US money. And I just really enjoyed it. I learned there they eat with their hands. Yeah. So I learned to eat with my hands on the end of it. By the way, when you eat with your hands, food tastes better for some reason. It really does on that. And I stayed there and did the volunteer work, got in really good shape, trekking up into the Himalayas and back down. I eventually went up to the base of Mount Everest. And then I met some crazy Australians, and they had traveled into Tibet. And at the time, China had just taken over Tibet, and the Dalai Lama had escaped into India. And I felt fearless at that time, like invincible. I could not die. So I said, I'm going to sneak into Tibet. And at the time, you had to sneak into Tibet. There was no way to get a visa or go in there. And they said, what you can use as currency once you get into Tibet is have a stack of color photos of the Dalai Lama. That's currency. Have some Marlboro cigarettes and have some whiskey. And you use that for currency because they don't accept, there's no money that they accept. And at the border from Nepal, Tibet, there was just a simple border crossing. It was just a dirt road. And there were some immigration officers there. You just hand them, it had to be a crisp $20 bill. And then they just let you in. You're on your own at that point. And then how I traveled from there to the capital of Tibet, which is what, Lhasa, I believe, I forget. But I traveled by trucks that were carrying stuff like potatoes and cabbage from Nepal into Tibet. And I would just pay them a picture of the Dalai Lama. And it was color, and they were like, yeah, come on in. And then there was checkpoints at every gas station along the way where they had Chinese officers there that would fuel them up and make sure that they weren't carrying anybody extra. So before we'd come up to these checkpoints, the driver, which doesn't speak English, and I don't speak Nepalese or Tibetan, would just point to the back. And I was told in advance that's what happened. While he's driving on these old dirt roads, I would climb out of the window on the top of the truck and into the back, and I would go underneath the canvas, and I would bury myself like inside whatever they had back there, cabbage, tomatoes, and I would get underneath there. They would stop, you'd hear the Chinese officers, and they'd be like banging the side of the car with the butt of their gun and stuff. And then we'd pull off, and we'd drive for a little while, and then he'd like bang the top of the roof, bang, 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 and that meant I could come back and climb back in. So it was definitely an adventure, to say the least.
Yeah, crazy experience. So you actually experienced Asia back then? So
yeah, exactly.
When you start coming to like Bali and other Asian countries, was no like cultural shock for you? So you already like knew?
The only place I get a little bit of a shock is if I go to Japan. That's just like another world.
It's a different world.
It's a completely different world. People don't understand it unless they've experienced it. And I wouldn't recommend going there your first time.
Cool. So could you live somewhere else? If it was not Bali, where would you live? What's the options for you?
Yeah, my favorite place is Southeast Asia. I would look at Thailand, the Philippines on that. Many, many islands and wonderful places to live. Part of being free is being free of taxation on that legally. The other part of it is that I want to leverage my money as much as possible. I mean, living here, let's say on $3,000 a month, living here, you can go out to eat every night. You can have a great life. You can have a maid here at $3,000 a month. You can live in a beautiful villa on here. You can get massages. You can have this incredible lifestyle. That same $3,000 in the U.S. could barely get you a one-bedroom apartment. So it's about going places where you can leverage the tools and the resources you have the most.
But should it be a balance? For example, you have enough money to live anywhere in the world, in Hong Kong, Singapore, US.
Yes.
At the same time, you probably don't want to live to some super distant village somewhere in the Philippines without nothing. Like you spend $500 and you live like a king, but you probably need some like balance. You know what I mean? You can afford to live anywhere, basically.
Yeah. So how I would answer that question is that I went through a mental exercise for myself. And I said, what does success mean to me without money? I can't use the concept of success with money. It's a very important question.
That's a cool exercise.
It's a very good exercise I would encourage everyone to do, because what I did for the majority of my life, and I think a lot of other people do and entrepreneurs do and stuff, is that their success is always tied to money. I'm only speaking for myself, but I think a lot of people could relate to this. When I think about success and when I thought about it in the forms of money, then I was trapped in consumerism. So it was like, oh yeah, I'll be happy and rich and happy because I can have a fancy car, because I have a big house, because I used to wear, if you would have seen me a few years ago on here, I would have had the most expensive Rolex with diamonds on it. I would have had a white gold bracelet on here with diamonds on it. I would have had huge diamonds on my ring on here. And when I asked myself, what would a dream life be, an ideal life for me be without money, that made me think about what's really important, not consumerism. Who does consumerism benefit? It benefits people who want to sell you something every single year.
So your life philosophy not to be attached to a place, basically, not to be attached to a physical place.
And
like the patriotism thing, it's something that kind of government wants you to have, yeah, to be a patriot of the country, to go die for your country. But in your philosophy, it's kind of not the right thing, as I understand.
Absolutely not. And the reason for that is that I would be willing to fight for a country if the country was based on merits, based on honesty on here. You try to ask a politician, basically I would argue in any country, to be honest, it's like trying to teach a pig to dance. You get miserable and the pig gets miserable. It doesn't happen on here. And it doesn't happen because it's been this way since the beginning of time, as we can go back and study history. Back when we had kings and queens. Well, who are the kings and queens? The kings and queens were proclaiming themselves that God chose me. What? I didn't choose you. Come on, use your common sense. It's just like the back of a dollar bill, US dollar bill. What does it say back there in the triangle? In God we trust. God would not print fake money on here that has no value, and it's just they just use money to control you, just like the kings and the queens said, God gave me all this land. You can harvest on this land. It's my land because God chose me. And some of your farmland is gonna go to us as a tax. Things haven't changed on here. There's always the elite on the top that control the population. And when they control the population, they're controlling them through energy, could be in the form of food, gasoline, electricity, and obviously through currency. What kind of led me to come is when I got that first big $1 million tax bill. That was on my personal income, and I was like, I got to figure out a way not to do this. And at the time, Steve Jobs was alive, and I was reading how Steve Jobs was able to save, I don't know, some astronomical number, like $300 billion tax-free. I'm like, how did these people do this? Basically, I learned through a guy named Bill Phillips, which he owned ESA products in the United States, and he did the first kind of before and after pictures for like contests, weight loss contests and stuff. I entered that contest, and that was in early 2008, and I was homeless, living out of a car, and the car I was living out of was an old 1967 Mercedes-Benz. And the reason that I was living out of that car and I could live out of it is because that type of engine could take diesel fuel, but it could also run off of corn oil. And so I would go to restaurants, and I would say, hey, you're just gonna throw out this old corn oil. Can I have it? And they'd say, yeah, absolutely, take it away, because otherwise they gotta pay to take it away. And I would fill up my gas tank with it. I was living very low.
Why it was the case? Why you were homeless back then?
I had grown a business. I've never worked a job in my life. I've always worked for myself. And I grew a business, and right when we got to the point to where we were going to sell the business, and when you sell a business to other investors and stuff, it usually takes around 6 months to do. So during that 6 months time, one of our 3,000 employees was drunk on the job and ran through a red light and killed 4 people.
Shit.
Just super unfortunate. But then the attorney saw that, and the attorney said, well, this guy doesn't have any money, but who does he work for? They investigated our company, and our company was selling for over $100 million. And they said, we're going to go after them because the guy was technically on the clock working for us, so now they can sue us.
What's the company about? What's the product?
The company, we were the largest satellite dealer in the United States, selling satellite for television on that. Yeah. And also it came with the internet too.
Yeah.
Our whole goal was to build it to sell it. And we got it to the point where we sell it, and then this unfortunate accident happened. And the attorneys ended up taking all of our money, so that when the company who bought us sold it to us, we didn't get the paycheck. We got zero money. And of course the family that was left behind got the money, as they should. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's why I was homeless at the time.
Crazy.
So, yeah, I was just really depressed.
Yeah.
We'd build this up. I was depressed at what happened to the other family and everything. So anyways, I'm homeless. I'm sitting in my car, and I always smell like oil from a restaurant. I smell like the back of a kitchen because I'm using their used oil and stuff. And I'm sitting outside of a Starbucks at 3 a.m, and that's to get their internet, because I couldn't even afford internet.
Yeah.
And I have my laptop open, and I'm looking at my laptop, and I just came across something that said Bill Phillips Body for Life contest, win $50,000. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And I started reading through it, and I was obese at the time. I was over 220 kilos. Right now I'm 76 kilos.
Shit.
And I was obese. I had like double chin. You couldn't even recognize me.
Yeah.
And I showed people the before picture, and they're like, that's not you.
you?
They don't believe me. And so anyways, it doesn't matter.
How old were you when it started happening?
41.
41.
41.
So you made all your way like up to this, like building this huge company, then you lost it, then
Yep.
kind of starting from zero, from scratch.
Literally zero. Literally
Wow, at
zero.
41.
And, yeah, at 41. And which means that people can start from any time. It's never too late. And so from there, I thought, this is great. This is a weight loss contest. It was 16 weeks. And if I win, I can win $50,000 and I won't be poor anymore. So I just focused all my energy on that contest and focus on it. And there was well over 10,000 applicants. And I got a call one day on my phone. Said, I didn't recognize the number. I said, hello. He said, this is Bill Phillips. Congratulations, you won the contest. I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I was ecstatic. It was absolutely life-changing for me at that point.
Yeah.
And so he said, this is Bill Phillips, you won the contest. I'm gonna transfer you to my assistant. Got the assistant, said hello. I said, hello there, Mr. Winters. I need to know a few things about you. I need to know your shoe size. I need to know your waist size, everything like this. I didn't know what the hell was going on. And then she said, we'll have a car come up and pick you up tomorrow. Where should they pick you up at? And stuff. So I had to come up with some place to pick me up. And then they picked me up in this big black like SUV limo on this end. And that was amazing. And then I got to the airport. It's the first time I flew first class, flew to Hollywood, California. And it's the first time I'd been in Beverly Hills, drove up to Beverly Hills, and here's Bill Phillips' mansion. It's just like my eyes were just wide open. And the first thing I noticed is that he had more employees working in his home than people living there, which was just him.
Yeah.
I was shocked. There was a cook there. There was like 2 or 3 maids there. He had his assistant there, and sat down. We had dinner. He invited over some celebrities like Paula Abdul and some others on that. And I was just like, what has happened to my life?
Okay, so it's life drastically changed like within this like 4 times.
Absolutely. I can draw a sand in my life, and it's before I won the contest and after. Completely changed everything.
Okay.
On many levels.
Yeah.
So the first level that it changed it on is that you can learn a lot of lessons from exercising and losing weight. And one of them is that you can learn to do things that you don't want to do. And that's a really important lesson in life. And you can carry that. So when I go to the gym, I never want to go. Even today, I don't want to go. I don't like to go to the gym, but I like the feeling afterwards. I like the longevity. And more importantly, I like the mental part of it. And I like to, I'm sure you've heard of the 80-20 rule on that, where it's like when you look at companies, if you have 100 employees, 80% of them are really not contributing to the bottom line, the profitability of the company. Only 20 are.
Yeah.
So that 80-20 rule kind of applies to all areas of life. And when I learned that rule, I thought, screw it, I'm going to do 90-10, and I'm going to apply it to every aspect of my life. So I do that with the gym. I go to the gym 3 days a week, and I'm done in 25 minutes. And I do one set, one intense set, rather than doing 5 or 6 sets or whatever. And a lot of people have a hard time believing it. It's like a maintenance program. No, it's not. I can take anybody who's working out 4 or 5 days a week for an hour, hour and a half, and they can't handle my 25-minute workout. One set per muscle group on that. And that's where the first time that I really applied the 90-10 rule. And then I started applying that to all other areas of my life too. I started applying it to my business, how I eat, also how I dress. When I go to my closet, I only have one choice of clothes. I have a stack of black t-shirts.
Yeah.
I have a black, they're all exactly the same. So that's one less decision I have to make during the day. We only have as much RAM space in our brain. Once we start making a lot of decisions, our computing power goes down. So I want to make the least amount of decisions. So I 90-10 clothes. It's easy. I don't have to worry about it. It's hot here. I sweat. It's black. You can't see I'm sweating because it doesn't show in the shirt. At least it shouldn't. And then I 90-10 everything else, including the food. I did my own research and I decided what is the most nutritious food that I can possibly take that gives me the most mental and physical and longevity humanly possible on the end of it. And so I researched it, found out what it works for me, and I literally eat the same food every single day. Most people, and even me before I did this for a 90-10 food, is that I would have to think about, oh, what am I going to eat? Oh, geez, I don't know. I'll look on Grab or I'll look on the menu or we'll go out to the restaurant. It's a huge, in my opinion, it's a huge waste of time. So this way I prepare my food and cook it in a half a day and it's ready for the entire week. I've only had to think about it one time. I know exactly what I'm ordering. So I have big freezers. I have all the food stocked up. I don't have to waste time going to stores. I don't have to waste time thinking about what I'm going to eat. And so that's one of many ways that I've 90-10'd my lifestyle. Because we only have one life, and really all we have at the moment is just this moment. Do I want to spend this moment thinking about what to dress? I would rather not. Other people might want to, that's fine. I'm just talking about what works for me. So the biggest thing that I learned out of that that transformation there, one of them was 90-10 my entire life. So I can have the most out of my life to do exactly what it is that I want to do. The other thing that I learned there is that when you learn how to do difficult things, there's science behind this. It actually grows a part of your brain. It actually increases in size. They've done CAT scans. When you do things that you don't want to do, that are difficult to do, it actually increases that. And life can be difficult. It helps you do hard things throughout the day. So later on I learned, okay, I want to start my day doing a very difficult thing. And so what I do every single morning after I wake up is I go in and I get in the cold plunge. I have a cold plunge at home. It's the first thing I do. It never gets easy. I mean, there's ice floating on the top. Yeah. It hurts. You never ever get used to it. And I get it done, I get in there and it's 3 minutes, and 3 minutes is a long time. So mentally I have to chunk it out. Okay, I'm just gonna get to the first 30 seconds and I have a timer in front of me. Okay. 30 seconds I got, okay, 30 more seconds to 1 minute. So I have to, whenever you have a really big challenge, break it up into smaller pieces, then it's doable. And I have to do that. Now I get out of the ice bath. And so I've started my day doing something my brain doesn't want to do. I'm in there, my body the whole time is screaming, get out, get out, get out. And so that starts to exercise that part of the brain. And so now I've kind of set myself up mentally in two ways. One is I've set myself up to do difficult things for the rest of the day. If I can do the cold plunge for 3 minutes on ice, I can do anything. Yeah. I never take a day off from that. Then what it also does is that it naturally raises your dopamine levels for up to 6 hours. And when you can rate without a crash. So like when you drink a lot of coffee, it will raise your dopamine levels, but you have a crash. And then you gotta drink more coffee. Things like social media. Social media gets you because it spikes your dopamine levels. So you keep death scrolling. Yeah. Not only does it spike your dopamine levels, but the screen is blue. And the blue screen has been proven, the blue light that comes out of this has been proven to make it more addictive to watch on that.
Maybe you tell the story about the brain tumor that you had 2 years ago.
Sure, so a couple of years ago, I kept getting headaches and stuff like this, went to the hospital, found out I had some brain tumors in there. I'm like, how the heck did I get these?
Do you remember your first impressions when they told you, like, oh, you have a brain tumor?
I didn't believe it.
You didn't? Yeah.
I didn't believe it. Yeah. And then he said, but he was one of the best doctors in the world, and he'd only done this type of surgery. He was in his 50s. He'd only done this surgery since he was 24 years old. He's the best. He trains everybody in Singapore, in Malaysia, in Hong Kong, and here. He's the best, so I got the best.
He's based where?
He's actually based here.
In Bali?
Of all places, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly. And he said, look, this is my expertise. This is what I've done. He'll show you the x-rays. And he said, look, first thing he said, you got 24 hours to live. And he said, there's about a 70% chance it won't work. So I told him, I said, look, there's a 100% chance I'm going to live. When can we start the surgery on that? Because I'm referencing back to studies that they've done that are not legal to do anymore, where they would tell cancer patients that have like stage 4 cancer, they'd have the doctors come in and say, well, you've got about an 80% chance of this not working, a 20% chance of living. And they take the same stage 4 other cancer patients, similar cancer, and the doctors would come in and say, hey, there's a 90% chance you're going to live. And What happened? The
Second
ones
group?
who told them
Yes.
there was a 90% chance they were going to live, more of them lived. So I told the doctor, I said, look, scrap that 80% chance I'm not going to live. I am going to live, and I need you to believe it too, because I'm going to make it happen on that end. And he kind of looked at me, and I was like, let's do it. Next day, was in surgery, and you can't see the scars now, but the scar literally goes from here, and how I got rid of it is a whole nother story. But it goes from there all the way across the head to the back of my ear.
Yeah.
And there was, you've seen the photo on that, there's over 100, not just stitches, but staples. And they had to do 2 surgeries. The first one wasn't successful enough. So I was in the hospital bed for 8 weeks in a freaking hospital. And while I was in there, I was like, okay, I'm not eating the hospital food, because that's shit food on this end of it. I'm ordering my grass-fed, grass-finished beef, have my bone broth made. I'm going to feed myself the best nutrition possible. I don't have a gym in here, but I'm all stitched up, and there's all these IVs in me, and I'm like, I'm still going to find a way to do exercises, even if I'm in the bed. So even when I was in the bed, I would pretend it was a bench press, and I would just do the resistance on here. Long story short, after the 8 weeks, the doctor said I'd never seen anything like it before. It's the fastest recovery. By the way, the surgery was so dramatic that I had to learn how to speak again and walk again.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was absolutely. And he said, I've never seen a recovery so fast in my life on here.
And so before that happened, the Rolex thing, the diamond Rolex was before?
All of my life,
no?
yeah. All
That's
but
how you...
that was part of the transition when I said, what's really important to me?
Right. So you probably reassess your life like big time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you face death, you better reassess your life. You better reassess it. I used to have, early on when I started my entrepreneurial career, I used to get panic attacks. And one of the benefits about getting a panic attack, and for people who out there don't know what panic attack is, it literally feels like you're dying, like you're having a heart attack. And I'd feel like I have a heart attack. I'd go to the emergency room. I'd say I feel like I'm having a heart attack. They'd do all the x-rays. You're not having a heart attack, you're having a panic attack. I'd have another panic attack. Again, it feels like you're literally dying. I go back to the hospital. I say, you're not back here again. Come on, you're just having a panic attack. It's just all in your head.
Yeah.
So, but what I like about panic attacks, if there is something good to take away from it, is that you face death every time you have one, because you think you're dying. And when it goes away, you have a new appreciation for life. Very important to do. Can't remember where I was going with this story, but
yeah.
Answer.
So what's the biggest lessons that you learned after this, after what happened with your brain and brain tumor a couple of years ago?
The biggest lesson for me was that there's a lot of them, but if I can sum it up and then elaborate on it, the biggest one for me was re-examining what's really important to me in my life. And a lot of times we are given information from others and we accept that other information as that's the way it should be. And we've talked about this earlier. It's consumerism. Oh, you should always want a fancy bag or a fancy car or bigger house and a cook and a maid. You know, maybe some people want this stuff and others don't. But I think a lot do. And who made that up? It's usually the people who are trying to sell it to you. Who's trying to sell you the phone every year, thinking you need a new phone on this? So that really made me assess what is really important in my life without the money, and that for me has made the biggest change on that.
You ever bothered that most of the people around you not like you, not so driven, not so into health, mental health? Most of the people in the world live like different life.
You don't know my friends. Maybe you're talking about your life.
Yeah.
Just being honest.
So you surround yourself with people who are like-minded,
Absolutely.
super like-minded.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you don't care about everyone else outside of the social circle. 99.99% of people in the world.
That still leaves 0.0001%, and there's billions of people on there. So when you look at it mathematically and logically, there's a lot of people that do.
Yeah.
And if I would argue, if any place in the world here, I also do ice bath, I do sauna. How many gyms here have infrared sauna? I just have one at home. Almost every gym here has infrared sauna. And they have places in here where they have the oxygen therapy. There are gyms here that do on that. And they have different types of them as well. Hydrogen, I don't know. I haven't looked into it. I don't need to on that. But I would argue that there are many people that are headed in that direction, are on their way, and that with the advent of stuff like, there's incredible, stem cell therapy is off the charts. Crazy, especially in Dubai. Oh my God. People, look, if people just ate clean, exercise a little bit, focus on their sleep a little bit more, don't smoke, don't drink, you've easily got the potential to live to 120. Now you start adding layers of what I'm talking about, get out of town. Especially with AI coming, adding to the technology, it's in the next 5 or 10 years, AI in medicine and longevity, it's going to be something we have a hard time imagining right now. That if people want to make the choice, I truly believe they can live a quality life above 120. We'll see. I'm certainly going to try.
What are these top places in the world, do you think, that is going to be big? And it's probably if you are in your 20s or 30s, maybe it's a place for you to consider moving there. What are the big places like now in the world?
It depends where you are. If you're just starting out, say you're just starting like a YouTube channel, they're just starting YouTube and you're bringing in a couple $1,000s a month, but you're living in a place that might not go far enough. I would say move to Vietnam, Thailand, Philippines. It's way less. You could live off of $1,000, $2,000 a month. In Vietnam, especially in Thailand, no problem. And then you can have the time to grow more money. You can't do that if you're working a job, paying for all these things in inflation. So it depends on where you are in life. So if you're in that stage of your life, I would say Vietnam, Thailand, Bangkok, those kind of areas. Now, once you get up and now money's not a problem and you're not independently wealthy, that you're making good $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month on the end of it, then I would say Dubai could be a good place. And the reason for that is that all types of other entrepreneurs are there. And one thing that people tend to neglect is that your environment shapes you physically and mentally. Now, what's some examples of that, of your environment? They've done studies on this where they've taken obese people and just in their environment, wherever they go, supermarket, whatever, they did a study, they just had a bunch of fit people around. Didn't interact with them. Guess what happened to the people, the obese people? They didn't change their diet or nothing. Their environment affected them. They started losing weight. So it says physically. Mentally, they've done these studies too. Mentally, where we talked about the 80-20 before, 80 out of 100 employees are doing nothing to the bottom line. They would take one of those doing nothing employees that doesn't add to the bottom line, and they'd put them next to, not interact, just in proximity to the highest producing employees in the same company. Guess what happened to that low producing person? Increased. So your environment shapes you mentally and physically. So you have to add that to the equation. So now let's apply that to Dubai. You're making a substantial amount of money because it is more expensive there. But the added things that you get in there is you get incredible lifestyle. It's very tax friendly. And now you're around these incredibly entrepreneur, high driven people. If you thought you were the shits, you got to go there and you're like, oh my God, this guy's worth $200 million. He just sold his company and now he's starting 2 others. Oh my God, I just got this little YouTube channel. I got to step my game up.
Hey guys, just a quick announcement, don't skip. I'll be running a 3-day workshop called Fast Track to Views and Profits on YouTube. If you ever wanted to start your own channel, this is the best way to do it. You will learn how to choose the most profitable niche and how to beat the YouTube algorithm. You're gonna love it, I promise. Link in description, so sign up if it's for you. And now back to the video.
You said you have 3 kids.
3 adult kids, yeah.
3 adult kids. What's the most important things that you want to, like your kids are adults already, but for example, you advise me, I have almost 8-year-old, almost 2-year-old. What skills will be needed, you think, for them like to be successful in a future life?
I would say no matter what your age, 41, 50, 60, 4, 5, right now, use AI every day and use them all. Use Claude, use them all and get used to them. Then the next level of that is get used to prompting them. It is the future. And anyone who is not using AI, in my opinion, is going to slowly get left behind. And I don't think it's going to replace. It's at a current level right now to whereas it's not going to replace you. You still have to become an expert at it in order to put in the right prompts. But instead of having 10 employees, you can have 2 to do the work of 40 employees. Like, who wouldn't do that? And anyone can learn it. You don't need to know programming. You just need to understand this new language on here. Like you need to understand Bitcoin, in my opinion. You really take 100 hours to study it so that you can preserve your freedom. in the future going forward. So for kids, I would do that, and then I would encourage kids to go really deep on things they naturally enjoy on that. And when I homeschooled my kids, that was one of the big things, was that they had to get the government bullshit stuff out of the way. But that literally took us 2 hours. Look at the rest of the day. Guess what? You're gonna learn some Play-Doh. You're gonna learn how to think. You're gonna learn some stoicism on here. And then, oh, by the way, you really like this? We're gonna go deep on this too. My kid, who went really deep on one thing very early on, I was like, great, if you really like this, just keep going at it. And it was football or soccer or whatever you call it, the rest of the world. Soccer, not US. And he really liked it, so we just kept pushing it. And then by the time he was 9, we were able to get him on a semi-professional league in a European country. And I'm not going to say the name of the team, but it was in the La Liga League in Spain. He was the first of his race at 11 years old to join one of the most famous football leagues on the planet, in my opinion. And he did that for 5 years, and every year they get cut. It's a business. It's cutthroat. But remember that stress and comfort don't coexist. And he's learning stress every day, which you can apply to all areas of life, which he's doing today. But he got he got an ankle injury that was irreparable on that of it. So he had to move on to the next stage of his life.
Yeah.
On that end of it. So AI, find your dream. Whatever dream that is, AI is going to help you out. It's the future. That's what I would recommend. Out of public schools, homeschool. Those are my recommendations.
How you learn things, how you study. You read books.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Like YouTube, books, talk to people, you have mentors.
I think that everyone needs to have 3 groups of, we'll say, friends or people around them. The first group is going to be people who are above you in whatever level. Could be in health, wealth, fitness. They're above you. And the reason for that group is that they help you learn. Like, oh, I want to get where they are financially, or I want to get where they are health-wise, or whatever you're looking to do to better yourself. So you need that group. Then you have a group that's around your level. So you're kind of growing together. And then you have a third group that I think is just as important. And that group is people who where you were a while ago, and you're helping to pull them up and help them, guide them along the way. So we have 3. We have people who are above you, same as you, and now below you, but you're helping them up. Most people hang out with people that are below them. Why? Because of ego. Like, oh, I'm so smart and I'm better than you. Well, guess what happens at that point? You stop learning and you don't grow anymore. Anytime you think you know it all, you know nothing. And the minute you stop learning and you think you know it all and you think you're the expert, you start regressing backwards on here. So I am forever a student. I'm never an expert at anything, forever.
Do you hang out with people just for fun? Because some people would argue in the comments, I'm pretty sure, that, okay, you do everything that's only productive stuff. But what about even like if you go to gym? You said you don't want to go to gym. Do you value like enjoyment in your life or not really? It's not about enjoyment at all.
Yeah, I have friends that I go out with, and that would be the friend group that's kind of in my same arena on that. And we like to joke a lot. It's like we probably joke 80% of the time when we're together, just laughing about absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
We'll spend 2 to 3 hours together, a group of us.
Yeah.
And then when we leave, that little gathering, if you were to come up and ask any of us, what did you guys talk about? I don't know.
Yeah.
There's your answer.
Okay, so to have fun, nothing wrong is with just having fun.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
Absolutely
yeah.
not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because some people they would say, oh, maybe you're like too robotic. You're only about productivity, making money, living free, like health, no alcohol and stuff. But
I would argue differently, of course, on that, and I would say that we live in a world of too much comfort, too much relaxation.
Yeah.
Most people don't have to worry about food. They can stay home and they can be watching Netflix for 3 or 4 hours a day, and they can just order food, and life is very comfortable. And I would argue that comfort and personal growth do not coexist together on that, and that you have to step out of your comfort zone, like taking an ice bath in the morning. You have to step out of your comfort zone in order to grow and expand as a person. And if you're not growing and expanding as a person on all levels, on your health, on your wealth, on your love, on your relationships, on your friendships, on your humor, on your good times, on that, then to me, it's like, for my life personally, it's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point? I don't want to be like everyone else. I don't want to be the status quo. The status quo gets up late. They watch Netflix on their free time and that. And look, everything you do in life, you're either adding or subtracting. Let me repeat that in a different way. Everything you do in your life to achieve your goals, you're either taking away from your goals or you're adding to your goals. So I just asked myself, okay, I really like this Netflix series, but I'm just going to watch one episode for now because that's adding to my kind of relaxation time.
Yeah.
But if I add more episodes to it, then it's going to break into my sleep. It's going to break into the time that I'm learning. I'm learning about wisdom, other thoughts and stuff like this. And so that's taken away from my life if I do too much of it on that. And I really look at everything that way, like alcohol. Is alcohol going to add to my goals or take away from my goals? Is alcohol going to add to my life or take away? For my life, personally, not saying for everyone else, for me, it takes away. Why does it take away? You have this huge dopamine hit in the beginning on that, and it's great, but the next day, I'm sobering up, and I've lost a whole day for a few hours of so-called fun on that end of it. So for me, personally, I don't do alcohol on the end of it.
Hey, I've launched this Telegram channel where I'll be sharing insights from my guests, travel tips around Asia, and also my thoughts about YouTube, marketing, business, and even life. It will be cozy, personal, and free of charge. So join me, just scan this QR code on the screen or click the link in description, and I'll see you there. When we talked before the interview, you said like now it's the best time to make money online.
Absolutely.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I'll be happy to elaborate. So let's go back in time a bit to around the 1800s, when most of the people in the United States lived towards New York on the East Coast. And it was learned that there was gold to be found everywhere in California. And so what happened is that once it was confirmed that thousands upon thousands of people back in the 1800s sold their homes, got up in a horse and buggy with all of their belongings, and they traveled 3 months across the United States to go after gold, to go after the dreams, to go after opportunities, to become wealthy, to become independent. And they had to put up with wild animals, with Indians, with thieves.
Yeah.
And this is months and months. And they'd have to travel in places with no roads. And when they got there, many of them didn't make much money, and a lot of them lost everything that they had. And that age was called the gold rush era. Today we're living in the digital gold rush area right now. And now you don't have to travel 3,000 miles on a horse and fight against Indians and bears and stuff. You don't have to do that today. Today, from anywhere in the world, online, with a camera, you can make money. That's absolutely, you can make money doing anything. And what do I mean by anything? If you're an expert or you want to become an expert at something that you're really passionate about, you can get online and share your journey as you're doing it. That would be one way. Another way would be, if you are an expert at it, to also share your expertise online with that. Anyone can do that as long as they can overcome basically their fears on that. And there's a thought process out there that your imagination causes more stress, more fear, more anxiety than reality. One is fake, it's in the future. The other one is right in front of you in this moment, and the imaginary one causes more pain and anxiety on that end of it. And one of the reasons for that is you have to kind of break this down. Your imagination is future, and right now is the present. And the present causes less stress than the future because your imagination exaggerates everything to the 10th degree. So like you're thinking, oh, I've got to go give a speech at an event, and it's in 5 days from now. Your imagination is thinking of the future. What if I mess up? What if I get up on stage and I don't say the words right? What if I stutter? What if I don't speak loud enough? And these are all what ifs, and that causes incredible amount of anxiety. So you take that future imagination, which is not real, and you have to pull it back to the present moment, and you have to add some logic to that and say, okay, let's look at this today and now. Instead of saying what if I don't remember, so replace that with how to. How would I? How would I make sure that I don't mess up? Oh, I know. I could just practice some more. Okay, that's good. And that's enough to still, a little bit of stress is good, but too much and imaginary stress will just freak you out. And that's one example. But in the entrepreneur world, the example is, let's say, I mean, we're in the intention age right now. So if most people want to make money online, they've got to have a presence online. So there's a lot of fears right there. It's like, well, I don't have the right camera. I don't know what I would say. What if I look stupid? What if I don't have the right cuts and all this kind of fancy stuff in here? And that's all future-based, imaginary. And that imaginary gets carried away. Nope, pull it from the future to the present. Don't ask what if, and ask yourself how. When you ask yourself, how can I? Now you put yourself in problem-solving mode. So that's really important. Rather than when you say, oh, I can't do that, I'm not technical, I don't know about film, I don't know about cameras and lighting, you just end it. When you say, how can I? Now you put yourself in problem solving. And you have to make sure that you also know that there's no such thing as perfect. Okay, it's not about perfect, it's about progress. Little progress every day, and it compounds on that. So I would come in and say, okay, I got to get online. I don't know. How can I? Start learning. There's information out there. We're in an abundance of information out there, and just get started. You can't expect it to be perfect. It's kind of like when you ride a bicycle.
Yeah.
You know how to ride a bicycle, right?
Yeah.
Did you learn how to ride a bicycle by watching a bunch of YouTube videos and courses on how to ride a bicycle?
No.
Of course not.
You just do it.
That's right. You have to do it.
You fall.
You make mistakes.
Yeah.
You make mistakes. And that's the thing, is that people have to look at it and they have to go, look, in order to succeed at this, I have to be doing it. There's a little bit of learning, book learning or whatever, but after that you got to do it. It's the only way you can learn it.
Yeah.
And as you're learning it, you're going to make mistakes like you fall on your bike. That's okay. That means you're one more mistake away from learning how to ride the bike. And that's the only way you're going to do it. And in this attention economy, no one's going to be watching anyways. It doesn't matter on the center of it.
Oh yeah, 100%. People, because we have this social media marketing agency, we help people to actually start YouTube channels, start and grow and monetize YouTube channels. One of the biggest fears people have, oh, I'm gonna have like hate comments straight away. But in reality, okay, to start getting like hate comments, you need to be quite big. In the beginning, no one cares, more or less. But also, people around you would be more supportive than you think. People think, oh, like our friends, our family, they like colleagues, they will say, oh, why are you doing this freaking? But normally people like quite supportive, or at least they wouldn't tell you in your face that that you're doing something wrong. So it's like it's a matter of actually starting. And also the other thing that I will always talk to our students, our clients, because you don't know the game, you cannot predict the future. So it's like it's kind of pointless. For example, for me, if I start a YouTube channel right now, I think enough expertise to think about it enough and plan enough. But if you've never done it, kind of useless to make plans, because you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. Very, very, very well put on that. And I would add to the people who leave the hate comments on this, I would just not read the comments if it was me, because who has the time to watch your entire video and then put a hate comment in there? Those are not people that I want feedback from. On there anyways. I would be tracking my success differently. I would be tracking it by data. And I would be looking at data. Like when I was in marketing, it's all about data. How many people click on this page? When they click on this page, how many people put in their email? Okay, how many people got to the cart but abandoned the cart? And I got to look at the data in there. I would look at the data on your YouTube channel. It's been years since I've looked at it, but I would be looking at whatever data you look at to know if you've got retention rate. I don't even know what it is today. You would know, but I'd be looking at the data, not the comments on this end of it. Are people watching all the way to the end? That's probably a good matrix. I don't know, or metrics on that. And I would be focusing on bettering yourself, but I would stay away from those comments. Those have got to be the worst. Just my 2 cents. It's just like part of being free and healthy is that I make sure that I remove all toxic people from my life, even friends. If you're toxic, if I'm starting a business, or if I was starting a business and I was going to get into it, and I shared it with them and they said, that's too hard. You don't want to do that. You're toxic. To me, you are, because it's a reflection probably of you and your life and where you are, and you don't want to see me raise up even further than you, rather than, in my opinion, a true friend would support you. Say, that's great. Hey, if there's anything I can do to help out, let me know. Good job. When are you going to get started? What's your next step? That's a good friend on this end of it. Those people in the comments, they're not your friends. They're haters.
Just to make sure, like, it's still okay to leave comments, so people, like, you leave comments below. Yeah, we need engagement. And also, if you want to learn how YouTube works, how to monetize it, how to start a YouTube channel, we will leave a link on a free workshop that we do from time to time. What's the meaning of life for you?
The meaning of life. If I had those answers, I would give them to you. I would like a way to be able to help people, if they want to become healthy, physically and mentally. People don't have to be sick. People get on this. There are kids that are taking diabetic type 2 insulin, kids and adults on that. Plus, now they start getting off of other things, high blood pressure and stuff like this. And then they start feeling amazing. And now we need more amazing people in this world that are operating at their highest level.
Yeah.
Whatever that level they decide to do and whatever they decide to do in life, if you have more superhuman people, which superhuman simply means, I say superhuman, but this means this is the way we're meant to feel. We're supposed to wake up with energy.
Yeah.
You were supposed to be able to think clearly. You were supposed to create things. And this is the way I think we have a better civilization. We could have more people that are able to cure headaches, more people that are able to get babies in the first 2 years to stop crying, all kinds of things. Whatever you're passionate about it, you can make a difference in this world.
But for you, it's like a future plan, so...
I'm contemplating that. I'm very greedy with my time and what I do, but at the same time, I don't feel like I am contributing. I'm not doing it for the money, but that doesn't mean it's going to be free, because if it's free, people will value it. Pay to play. If you pay, I'm probably going to take that money and spin it over to help other people out, something out, like a dog shelter or a cat shelter or something like that.
Yeah.
To spin it off there. So just keep the momentum going and help out.
So, still meaning of life to be found for you, yes.
And I don't know if I'll ever find it.
No.
Constantly searching. I'm a student for life. Once I have the answer, I really don't.